in a city bash, a man with a plan in hand, the Joburg Safety Council member tasked to clean the land. He went to scout those derelict walls where the shadows like to hide, but the streets of Johannesburg are cold and there ain't no place to reside. He knocked upon a heavy door to see what lay within, but they slammed it hard right in his face. A symphony of sin. Oh, the irony is heavy as a stone beneath the sun, when the man in charge of safety is the one who's on the run. If the council isn't safe within the city that they lead, how must it be for the common folk sowing every seed? It's a lonesome, dusty trail when the law gets trapped within, kidnapped by a pimp, where the city's walls are thin. He and his entourage, they didn't turn away. They found a side door down the path to see the light of day. A lady of the evening stood and let them slip right through, but the air grew thick and heavy with a scent they never knew. Boom! The door slammed shut behind them, blocking out the light, and the safety of the city vanished in the dead of night. And wouldn't you know it, standing there with a gat held in his hand was a pimp who took a hostage in this weary, troubled land. The man who's meant to guard us was staring down the steel, a reminder that the danger in these streets is very real. Yeah, the safety officer was taken, held against his will, in a city that is struggling to keep its spirit still. If a pimp can snatch the council, Lord, what hope is left for us? Just a lonesome country melody kicking up the dust. In Johannesburg, the shadows grow, and the safety officer is the first to go.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Thursday, March 12th, 2026, live here in the broadcast studio in central Pennsylvania. Chris, let's see what the sound is. Broadcast studio. Sounds pretty good. All right, so we've done the sound check. Sound is working. Sounds pretty darn good. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm still recovering. I think I'm on the mend now, finally. It took a week. As I expected, 7 to 10 days would be the duration of this virus. I will not be going to Florida because I'm not going to be taking this pestilence to people down there. I don't want to spread it among folks. So my apologies for those who are going to the St. Augustine Braai. I will not be there. Anyway, thanks for being here. Let's get to the news. The South African government is going out of its way to antagonize the United States over a petty bunch of nonsense in which no insult is laid. The South African government abrogates freedom of speech of the ambassador to South Africa. Now, before anybody says, wait a second, but you kicked out our ambassador, your ambassador, in a public forum being recorded, called the president the leader of global white supremacy. Donald Trump has not called Cyril Ramaphosa the leader of a global black supremacy. There's a big difference there. No one has called the president of South Africa that. There's a big difference. Also called America racist. The ambassador to South Africa did not call South Africa racist. He didn't even say anything about that. He simply said he disagreed with the decision by the court, which makes all the sense in the world, given that the Constitutional Court had previously, 20 years ago, determined that kill the Boer was indeed hate speech and was prohibited. And somewhere along the way, lawlessness broke out, and then courts decided that since everyone was singing it, it could be allowed. So he expressed his opinion, and then he retracted that. That's unfortunate. But this was expected. He was also called on the carpet, not just for that, to explain why he went to the Apartheid Museum. Seriously? Pray, pray, and pray. God will bless USA and Trump and Israel. Love you all. 70 Rand. Thank you for the 70 Rand. So the excuse, and I'll show you this in Daily Maverick story by Victoria Reagan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the ambassador not just simply for the remarks that he made at the Biz News conference, which is ludicrous in and of itself, but they want him to explain why he was at the Apartheid Museum. Excuse me? Why in the world does an ambassador have to explain why he visited a museum? This is harassment and unacceptable, and once again, in clear violation of not the letter of the law, but the spirit of the Vienna Convention. The purpose of an ambassador is to represent the United States there and to inform the President of the United States. President Trump has never been to South Africa, to my knowledge. The ambassador going to the Apartheid Museum was a sign that the United States is trying to cooperate and get along with the South African government. And he was called to Durko to explain why he went to the Apartheid Museum? Screw you. This is stupid bullshit. In the meantime, Fikile Mabalula has opened up his K-call. The all-out assault by EFF and these race hustlers attacking the ambassador over a 1987 letter. These are fools, and they are treading in dangerous ground. They're making mistakes that they cannot recover from. As I said, it's no coincidence that Julius Malema was denied a visa to travel to the United Kingdom last year. The British authorities, no doubt, did not want to be put in the awkward position of being forced to arrest, detain, and extradite him to the United States. They clearly didn't want that burden on them, because that would have put them in a bad way with South Africa. Much easier just to tell the fool he can't come to the UK. There are consequences to stupid actions. There's been a clear campaign to attack Bozell before he came there in the hopes that it would dissuade the Senate from confirming him. It didn't work. The campaign was ramped up in the weeks before he arrived, claiming he's a racist, claiming he's anti-ANC, claiming he's pro-apartheid. Bile spewed by all kinds of people in South Africa. I'll show you the letter from 1987, Chugsy. Yes. The list of egregious offenses by the EFF, by members of the ANC, by Durko is growing by the hour. They are, in fact, bottom feeders. That's correct. Bottom feeders. Disgusting, vile human beings who have no understanding how a country actually runs. So, as I mentioned yesterday, and mentioning again today, Durko summoned the new ambassador over criticism, over ridiculous basis for bringing him in. The newest ambassador to South Africa has been summoned to explain his criticism. The country's foreign ministry said Wednesday as the diplomatic rift continues over foreign policy that the Trump administration describes anti-American and domestic policies calls anti-white. Well, they're anti-anything that's not a cater. Brent Bozell was summoned after speaking in a meeting of business leaders on Tuesday where he challenged South African government over its diplomatic ties with Iran and its affirmative action laws that advance opportunities for black people ahead of other races. First off, Washington Times, black people is not capitalized. Black is an adjective, and that's an abuse of language. For a conservative news site, shame on you. Oh, I see why. It didn't come from. This isn't their story. It's from the Associated Press. The AP has a racist policy to promote black people over anyone else, black supremacy. The black supremacy policy of the Associated Press comes in here. Shame on you, Washington Times, for simply not editing this piece of crap article. The rift has grown since Trump came to office. That's true. It has grown, but it existed before Trump was there. Yeah, so they've attacked him over this. Foreign Ministry Director General Zane Dangor said Bozell met with the South African officials and the ambassador apologized and expressed regret. Well, probably a good reason I wasn't sent there as ambassador. Probably a very good reason I wasn't chosen to be ambassador to South Africa, because I'd have a very hard time swallowing that garbage. He didn't say anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter what he says or does. It doesn't matter what he says or does. They'll simply call for his expulsion, because they're demonic and they want to insult the United States. It's the only tool they have in their kit box. They have no authority. They have no power. You have an abysmal economy that's collapsing. You have an economy that hasn't grown in a decade. You have a population that continues to soar. You have millions of illegal aliens flooding your marketplace. You have HIV more than any country in the world, tuberculosis out of control, hospitals collapsing, roads with potholes the size of tank traps, and airports that can't deliver fuel, one operating refinery. South Africa consumes 600,000 barrels of petroleum per day and produces only 95,000, most of that from Sasol cold oil conversion. Only about 5,000 barrels of petroleum actually produced in the country every day. The country is a disaster. New spat brews with U.S. after South Africa rebukes Ambassador Bozell for undiplomatic remarks. What undiplomatic remarks? Did he attack the South African government? No, he did not. No, he did not. This is a balanced report by Victoria Regan, by the way. Give her credit for that. The Department of International Relations Cooperation demarched the new U.S. ambassador less than a month after he arrived. At a press conference on Wednesday, DIRCO's Minister Ronald Lamola and Director General Zane Dangor confirmed Bozell had been demarched. He was quoted saying, "We may not get clarity on kill the board chant that we believe is hate speech. I'm sorry, I don't care what your courts say. It's hate speech." Of course, South Africa's courts declared it hate speech 20 years ago. And this idiot, acting like he has some kind of authority, one day he's going to get his comeuppance. One day that fool, Ronald Lamola, will get his comeuppance. Lamola said the Department of National Relations Cooperation has noted recent public remarks made by the United States ambassador. While South Africa welcomes active public diplomacy and is strengthening bilateral ties, we emphasize such engagements must remain consistent with established diplomatic etiquette and international protocols. In this regard, we've called on the ambassador of the United States to explain his undiplomatic remarks and his engagements and visits to various sites in South Africa, including the Apartheid Museum, District 6, and other historical places. In the engagements, he acknowledges that our history, South Africa needs redress, and he's willing to work with his construction guard. So why did you call him in? If he played the game of race, black supremacy, saying that we've recognized your history, and he went to District 6 and he went to the Apartheid Museum, why is Bozell being called in? See, this is all bullshit. It's a hit job. This is utter poppycock. Nothing but garbage. This is a corrupt administration that has no respect for the Vienna Convention, no respect for diplomacy. We saw that. We knew that the moment that they rushed Ibrahim Rasool here to be accredited by Biden before Trump became president. A clear violation of diplomatic protocol and etiquette. You want to talk about violations of diplomatic protocol and etiquette? With the newly elected president, they rushed over. No one ever submits a new ambassador before an administration comes in after an election. That never happens. Never happens. Never happens. Yet, South Africa did it to get the race hate spewing Ibrahim Rasool installed as ambassador. There's your violation of diplomatic etiquette and protocol. There's your violation right there. You want to talk about violations? Never called to account for that behavior. Never once called to account for that behavior. Unbelievable. Ronald Lamola said South Africa's relationship with the U.S. is not a one-sided relationship. Oh, it is one-sided. It's very one-sided. You insult and attack the United States and its interest, and we do nothing. You attack and insult the United States, and we do nothing. That's a very one-sided relationship. Well, I applied for the position, Rick. South Africa's been one of the largest importers of American products on the continent. Bilateral trade, which the country's valued at $15 billion. Well, first off, Lamola, it's valued at $23 billion. Keep up with current events. It was $22 billion in 2024. In 2025, it was $23 billion. $15 billion? No. No. That's your trade, genius. That's your exports to us and your trade surplus of about $7 billion. That's not the two-way trade. While our policies possess certain specific features to address historical injustice, they are aligned with the international investment practice. No, they're not. No, they're not. There is no international investment practice that allows you to discriminate against people based on their skin color. You're a liar. You're a liar. I've just said it right there. You've lied. It doesn't comply with international practices. Even the U.S., they do have localization. No. There's no such thing as localization. No. And you cannot equate, because they're going to bring up the TikTok issue. You cannot equate a national security issue with a race issue. You are discriminating against whites, Indians, and coloreds. On paper, only whites, but in practice, whites, Indians, and coloreds with your broad-based black economic enrichment program. Yeah, my goodness. He apologized because otherwise they would have kicked him out of the country and nothing would be accomplished. That's just how it goes. When you go for a demarche, ambassadors apologize. That's the matter of practice. That's how it works. That's just how it works. While our policy, additionally, Lamola said South Africa's foreign policy is anchored in a constitutional commitment to multilateralism and a peaceful settlement of disputes. No, it's not. It is not. You sent mercenaries to murder Ukrainians fighting on behalf of Russia. You sent combat helicopters to a sanctioned UN warlord in Benghazi. Where is the multilateralism there? Where is the neutrality there? There is no neutrality. There is no multilateralism. You're lying to the public again. Lying to the public again. Why? How did the ANC come up with 120 million rand instantaneously a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? Where did that money come from? Where did you suddenly get money when the sheriffs showed up at Latuli House to inventory your property in 2023? Suddenly you got money. Where did the money come from? Where did the money come from? Explain that one. Explain that. You can't explain that one. It's impossible for you to explain that one because you will have to tell people where the money came from. There is no way that the money disclosed to the Independent Electoral Commission from the Bato Trust and Chancellor House and the rich white South Africans who support your enterprise can explain the money spent on the birthday bash and the 100 million you paid off plus for your debt. Never mind the fact you had to finance a campaign. There is money laundering, corruption, a gore, a lure, a pour, a whole bunch going on here, folks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where is the money coming from? Well, as if it's not enough for Ronald Lamola to get up and lie in front of the press. By the way, there were like 6 people in the room, maybe 10 from the press. Nobody seems to give a crap when Ronald Lamola speaks. But when he got up and lied to the public and misled them, misstated things, and factually denied the truth, meanwhile, Fikile Mbalula was at his usual stuff, spewing his racial hatred. Here's a letter written in 1987 by the man that Trump has made his ambassador to South Africa. It would seem that he's an unrepentant racist and pathological hater of black liberation. Once again, black is an adjective, moron, not. If you want to call black liberation a subject, then you have to capitalize liberation too, you dumbass. Fikile Mbalula, where did he get his education? Under a tree somewhere? So I will show you the letter we're talking about here, folks. This is the letter in question from 1987. Now, the letter was in response to Secretary of State George Shultz meeting with O.R. Tambo, the leader of a designated terrorist group, the African National Congress, in 1987. And as a consequence, the leader of the National Conservative Political Action Committee, Brent Bozell, wrote a letter opposing the Secretary of State meeting with a designated terrorist group because the United States does not negotiate with terrorists. Sorry, that's not it. And that was the stated position in the United States at the time. For Fikile Mbalula to call Brent Bozell a racist because of his opposition to a designated terrorist group is racist in and of itself. The shameful actions of Fikile Mbalula. Mr. Howard Phillips, the Conservative Caucus, Vienna. Dear Howard, NPAC is proud to become a member of the Coalition Against ANC Terrorism. We agree that the impending meeting between Secretary of State Shultz and ANC President Tambo represents an unsatisfactory trend in the U.S. policy towards South Africa. Let us know how we can help. Sincerely yours, Brent Bozell. That is the letter. This is the letter that they used and they've been attacking him for over ages. An event that happened 39 years ago. 39 years ago. The ANC was a designated terrorist group. It is reasonable for a U.S. Political Action Committee to oppose our foreign minister from meeting with terrorists, which is what was going on. To call him an unrepentant terrorist is just bullshit and race hustling. And it just shows you the character of Fikile Mbalula. The United States had a policy of not negotiating with terrorists, yet here was the Secretary of State, George Shultz, meeting with O.R. Tambo. Now, to put this in historical context, this was towards the end of the apartheid era, 1987. And these are the events that touched off the end of apartheid. And that's why it happened. I'm not dealing with them, Greg Furster. I'm not a South African. South Africans are dealing with them. And the Trump administration is ignoring them. But they keep pushing and they will get the attention that they seek. Democratic Alliance members of Parliament walked out of an ad hoc committee over incriminating witness testimony. He stands an excellent chance of enduring himself a lot of damage on matters that are on the roll. In a dramatic start to Thursday's proceedings of Parliament's ad hoc committee, DA MPs abruptly exited the committee, citing deep discomfort over the testimony of businessman Kishane Chetty. The committee is investigating allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system, claims supported by Chetty. The businessman, who faced multiple criminal charges himself, submitted an affidavit alleging widespread misconduct, unethical interference, and abuse of power by the police. by the National Prosecuting Authority, the Independent Police Investigative Directive, and the Investigative Directive Against Corruption. Why? How many bodies do you have to expect people when no action is ever taken? Blue Couch Podcast. Oh, where'd it go? Did somebody just delete that? Somebody delete that nonsense? Yeah. Well, you're gone, Blue Couch Podcast. You're gone. You want to spew your hatred, save it for the end of the broadcast, and we can have a conversation. Right now, we're here for the news. Waiting Mark Rubin enter into this conversation. We're all aware that if he has to contact Lamola, it's going to be a situation where Rubio will take him to pieces. Yes, I agree. 400 Rand. Thank you for that, Alan. Appreciate that. Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Exactly right. You know, you just can't deal with these black supremacist racists. They're unrepentant. They come in here with their little chat nonsense. Yep, so many spies. Yeah, explains one reason why I have 700 viewers right now. Probably about 100 of them. 100 of them, little evil bastards, probably. Yeah. All right, well. Back to the news. All right, so Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has suspended 3 top officials arrested on, imagine this, fraud. More fraud. More fraud in the kleptocracy that the ANC has created in South Africa. The arrest of 3 top officials in the National Department of Health on Monday, the 2nd of March, on charge of fraud and theft involving more than 1 million rand was the latest in a long line of scandals involving dodgy procurement activities in the public health sector. Yet Aaron Motsoaledi remains the Minister of Health. The Charlotte Mekeksa Hospital has not been repaired since its fire. Other hospitals have been burned since then. No new hospitals have been created. No new medical conditions are available in the country. Yet Aaron Motsoaledi remains the Minister of Health. Hey, John Mosline. Long time no see. Thank you for the super sticker. Yep. No new hospitals, no new procedures, and healthcare is a disaster. I'd say over half of the people who came here as refugees from South Africa have life-altering or threatening health conditions that weren't treated in South Africa. Imagine what's going on with the other 63 million people in that country. Disgraced ANC MP gets bumped up and promoted. Yes, disgraced Nobule Nkabane, now ANC Deputy Chief Whip, acts former High Education Minister, is now the ANC's second in command in Parliament. This woman embroiled in fraud gets promoted. That is the corrupt kleptocracy that is the ANC. Disgraced former higher education minister Nkabane has made a strong political comeback with her appointment as ANC's deputy chief whip in Parliament. She was removed from her position as Minister of Higher Education and Training over a scandal involving the appointment of chairpersons to the SETA boards. She come under fire after packing the SETA boards with ANC-linked politicians and associates as part of her cater enrichment program. Thank you, Lou DeBeer, for 350 Rand. Doing a great job. Thank you very much. We're living, I hear you, living in a crap hole. Yeah, so F up and move up. ANC, F up and move up. So I just showed you a case of ANC health fraud. Now I've showed you ANC fraudsters being promoted, or accused fraudsters being promoted in Parliament. And now we have the president making ludicrous claims that no big name or small name will be protected. I'm sorry. No big name or small name will be protected? Are you serious? Are you serious, Cyril? Can we even take you at your word? Cyril Ramaphosa says with a straight face that no big or small name will be protected. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. How could that possibly be the case? I mean, honestly. Cyril says nobody will be protected. Nobody. Big names will be prosecuted. Will they really? Tell us, Cyril. How about Pala Pala?
Money stuffed in my sofa, a treasure untold. Cyril's got a game right. Stories on
Pala Pala, ritzy joint.
Glimmer and gold. Stay overnight, don't you stray.
Couch cushions hide a rainy day.
Pala Pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala Pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey. Antelope roam where the moonlight beams. Luxury whispers in velvet dreams. Sarah laughs, but nothing's
As it seems,
game of chance or a clever scheme. Hidden fortune stitched in the seam. You never know till you're caught in the stream.
Pala Pala,
Where the secrets play.
under the cushions, the cash will stay.
Pala Pala,
Don't give it away.
rainy day,
Rainy day. No big names will escape prosecution under the administration of Cyril Ramaphosa, Ace Magashule, Zweli Mkhize, Zandile Gumeda. No criminals accused will escape. Nobody.
Pala Pala,
Where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay.
Pala Pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day.
Hey. Pala Pala. Yes, don't give it away. Oh my goodness. No big names will be spared. Nobody will be protected, including Cyril Ramaphosa. Do you believe that? I don't. No. Yeah, no. President Cyril Ramaphosa says he'll make the interim report of the Mshlanga Commission public only after the commission has completed its work in 3 years. And assured, I added 3 years, and assured MPs that no one, including controversial businessman Hwangane Morgan Maumela, will be shielded from scrutiny. He was responding to oral questions from members of the National Assembly. Wow. He said the commission's interim report, which he received in December, contained recommendations relating to matters that were prima facie evidence of wrongdoing. Dude, there is so much evidence of criminal activity. You've taken no action in 8 years. 8 years. Zweli Mkhize, Special Investigating Unit, corrupt, guilty in the Digital Vibes case. Still sits in Parliament, still on the ANC's list. Hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, no. And if you aren't dealing with criminals and accused criminals who sit in Parliament, then you're simply promoting idiots, dunderheads, Minister 30%. Then you bring in dunderheads from other parties like Minister Nil Compensation, Dean McPherson, and John Steenhuisen, incompetent people who can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. And apparently who can't pay their credit card bills or take their boyfriends on rich jaunts to Brazil. Wow. What a government this is. What a government this is. Speaking of that, people in Johannesburg can't get their rubbish picked up. Why is that? Who knows? Differing stories coming from the provider and from the city. Yes, residents in parts of Joburg have experienced delays in waste collections since Friday, with the DA blaming a lack of payments and strike action, and Pick It Up, the company that has the contract, a black-owned company, blamed operational difficulties. Of course, operational difficulties. There's not enough money to steal. Wow. The Joburg Waste Collection Agency picking up services have been disrupted for over a week after protest action by residents from Zandspruit, Cosmo City, Kitasands, and Mahatli Informal Settlement. Residents launched a protest at their depot on March 3rd, disrupting collection services to demand permanent employment. So they're demanding jobs picking up rubbish, and they're preventing rubbish from being picked up. Is there an irony there? Perhaps there is. 148 million rand. You think those 200 rand bills were something big? Nah, they're not. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. That's not much money. 148 million rand payday for ABSA's new CEO. Who is Kenny Fihla, and how is he qualified to be the CEO of ABSA? He was appointed to his executive role in June of last year and received remuneration of 148 million rand, including 98 million in buyout awards. Wow. Wow. Ooh. My goodness. As ABSA CEO, he earned a fixed remuneration of 6.2 million, but he wound up with 148 million rand. That's just crazy. He received 23 million for short-term incentives, reflecting his annual performance bonus. Did ABSA do that well? Did he receive performance bonuses? Is anybody taking a look at ABSA's stock? Let's take a look, see if they mention it. No, they don't mention how well his stock is done. The Amalgamated Bank of South Africa is paying its executive quite handsomely, 148 million rand. That's a lot of coin, folks. A lot of coin. From Robben Island to Castle of Good Hope, 5 heritage sites the Cape Town Jazz Festival visitors should explore. By the way, folks, full disclosure, I did go to the Cape Town Jazz Festival 2 years ago. I found it interesting. It was all right. Was kind of lame because you pay for the tickets. I paid for the top price ticket, and then I didn't even get access to several venues. There were closed events you had to pay extra to go to. I didn't know the music, so I wasn't going to go there. So it was all right. I enjoyed it. Met some nice people there, and enjoyed some of the music. Some of it was very good. But the Cape Town Jazz Festival, most of those people didn't wander out and see other things, but I've seen other things. Let's take a look at some of the festivities that the Independent Line believes are great places to visit in Cape Town. See if you agree. No, I have not been to Grahamstown. Okay, so first, 1,000 music lovers descend on Cape Town for the Jazz Festival. Bo-Kaap, perched on the slopes of Signal Hill, Bo-Kaap is one of Cape Town's most recognizable neighborhoods. Known for its rows of brightly colored houses and cobbled streets, the area traced its roots to formerly enslaved people who settled there centuries ago. Many call the Malay Quarter Bo-Kaap, originally called the Malay Quarter. Bo-Kaap holds the largest collection of pre-1815 architecture and remains deeply tied to Cape Malay culture and South Africa's Islamic heritage. Yep, there you go. There's the mosque. The Castle of Good Hope. Yes, last time I was at the castle, it was full of rubbish and putrid stains and human feces from the illegal squatters outside the Castle of Good Hope. But I understand they've finally been cleaned up. They've finally been cleaned up. Robben Island. A few places in South Africa carry historical weight of Robben. Not really. It's a prison. I have no interest in going out to a crappy windswept island that's a boring ride across and a boring trip back to see a prison cell. I can pass on that. The Cape Floral region, well worth your time. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Includes the Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden. It's beautiful. I enjoyed my time there wandering around Kirstenbosch. Quite lovely. It's amazing that it's been maintained and upkept given the ANC and DA's fight over the Western Cape. Langa Heritage Precinct. I haven't spent any time there. Really haven't gone there. The Dompas Museum. So what happens if Ambassador Bozell visits the Dompas Museum? Does that mean that he supports apartheid? By going to the Dompas Museum, would that mean for Durko that he supports apartheid? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, there's some sites to visit in Cape Town, if you've not been to them. Any thoughts on that, folks? At least 64 people being killed in floods and landslides in Ethiopia. Most of those who've died were found buried in mud. Here, residents are searching for bodies. The death toll from landslides and flooding the Gamo zone of southern Ethiopia has risen to 64, dozens more people missing. The number of people missing due to the recent flood in Gamo region has reached 128, and according to the latest information, 64 bodies have been found. Oof, that's sad. Flooding caused by heavy rains led to the deaths, with most of East Africa seeing heavy flooding in recent days. Dozens have been killed in neighboring Kenya after torrential rains hit the capital Nairobi. Mudslides and floods caused by heavy rain are common in Ethiopia, especially during the rainy season. 64 people dead, though, is a sad situation, to say the very least. Ghana has decided to prove that they're a bunch of black supremacists as well. Complicit in the slave trade in Africa for over 2,000 years in recorded history, sending Africans to the Middle East through the Sahara. West African tribes located in what's today Ghana, an appropriated name from historic empire, which was located nowhere near Ghana, but a stolen name by Kwame Nkrumah, the black supremacist who tried to unite Africa and failed miserably, was overthrown by his own government because he was corrupt. Kwame Nkrumah created the country of Ghana in 1957, the Black Star Republic, and today it's leading the way for reparations, and it should begin by dissolving its government and paying every cent of its treasury to black people in the diaspora, because it's responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. Were it not for West Africans catching people, this would not happen. All right, we have to deal with something here very quickly here. Dogzilla, we don't pay for petrol in Rand, so we don't pay for liters of petrol, and we don't pay in Rand, so your comparison makes no sense. No one's paying 80 Rand for a liter of petrol in the United States. You're living in a fantasy world. Mods, watch Molster. It's Dogzilla pretending to be somebody else. Ghana seeking reparations for the transatlantic slave trade. But of course, Ghana is complicit in this. Ghana intends to propose a UN resolution recognizing transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime in the history of humankind, and calling for reparations expects broad support despite resistance in Europe. The West African nation, a prominent advocate of reparations on the continent, plans to table the proposal at the UN General Assembly, possibly as early as this month. The plan marks a new step in Africa's efforts to seek accountability for historical injustice by former colonial powers, and the country hopes it will enjoy the support of many member states. Really, except Ghana was never a European colony during the transatlantic slave trade. Now, isn't that inconvenient? Isn't that inconvenient? Thank you, both. I'll look that up. Isn't that inconvenient? Ghana wants reparations for the slave trade, but Ghana didn't exist, and the territory of the Gold Coast was never a European colony during the colonial era. It only became a British colony after the slave trade ended. After the slave trade ended. So who exactly are they hoping to hold responsible? Themselves? This is stupidity of the highest order. Ghana did not exist, and the Gold Coast, the territory that is Ghana today, was controlled by black Africans throughout the slave trade. Black Africans. No Europeans controlled it. No Europeans controlled it. No Europeans controlled it. No Europeans controlled it. For anybody that thinks that Brent Bazel's job is to do something against South Africa, you're just completely uninformed. Ambassadors don't take action against countries. What planet are you living on? What planet are you living on, Jack? Ambassadors don't take action against countries. Governments do that. You're living in a fantasy world, an absolute fantasy world. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. People have no concept of how governance works and how international relations work, and they come and make stupid comments. Ghana. Yeah, well, they're complicit. Let's charge Ghana with it. Senegal doubled the penalty for same-sex activity, 10 years in jail. Wow, my goodness. Senegal's National Assembly on Wednesday overwhelmingly passed a bill doubling the maximum prison sentence for same-sex acts to 10 years and criminalizing any effort to promote homosexuality. The law passed by 135 votes to 0 with 3 abstentions. It fulfills a campaign promise by the government that came to power in 2024, led by President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. It now awaits Faye's signature. Wow. It already carried a penalty since 1966 of 5 years in jail and fines of 1.5 million franc. That's 43,000 rands for acts against nature. So homosexuality will now be criminalized by 10 years in prison. Oh, excuse me just a second. Hang on, folks. Yes. Oh, the Democratic Alliance. Sorry, I have a phone call coming in from the Democratic Alliance. Just give me a second here. Yeah. No, it's true. Senegal has doubled the penalty for homosexuality. Oh, you guys are on it. Okay. Can you take time away from the Pride Parade, the DA banners? Can you leave the Pride Parade for a couple hours to go to Senegal? I mean, this is an important issue to you. I mean, it's an injustice. It's a human rights violation. Are all the DA Federal Council is looking into it? I understand. Well, I suggested maybe you get one of the ministers to go there and fight this fight. John Steenhuisen, he's proven to be very effective in the media. Maybe Dean McPherson. Maybe Dean McPherson might want to go to Senegal to fight this anti-homosexuality law. I don't know if he has a dog in the fight, but I'm just saying. Maybe he might be the right guy. Maybe. Yeah. No. I agree. I think it's critically important. I do. I think it's one of the most important issues for the Democratic Alliance. You should get right on top of this. There you go. Well, thank you. I appreciate the phone call. Yeah, my consulting bill will be in the mail. I won't charge you much. Nominal fee, 100 Rand. Okay, thank you very much. Cheers. Sorry, folks, that was the Democratic Alliance. They are putting together a plan of action to fight against Senegal's inhumane laws against homosexuality. I mean, it is, of course, a priority commitment for the Democratic Alliance. One of the most important issues they have, more important than foot and mouth disease, more important than farm attacks, they're concerned about homosexuality. They will get to the bottom of it. That's correct, Mark. No pun intended. They will get to the bottom of it. Yes. A house divided. Well, what will BRICS do? BRICS, the almighty alliance in opposition to the United States hegemony in the world. BRICS, with its alternate currency and its non-existent military alliance and its non-existent economic deal and its non-existent tariff-free zone for its members. What will BRICS do? Well, there's a problem with that. You see, members of BRICS are attacking each other. The Iranians have attacked another BRICS member, and BRICS doesn't know what to say or do. What do you do when friends attack each other? Not a whole lot. Two BRICS members, Iran and the United Arab Emirates, are on opposite sides of the conflict, preventing the bloc from taking unified position. This story by Peter Fabricius. A war in Iran has driven deep wedges between members of the BRICS bloc, preventing the group from taking a joint position on the conflict and raising concerns about the coherence of the 10-body nation, which claims to speak for the global south. But it doesn't speak for the global south. It's fiction, Peter. It doesn't exist. It's vaporware. BRICS is a vanity project to show that South Africa matters, because it was BRIC. We added the S, but nothing else got added afterwards. China wants its ethnic minorities to blend in. Oh my goodness. This is shades of South Africa. This is South Africa. In China, no wonder the ANC loves the Chinese government. The Chinese have just imposed a law that's just like the ANC's Bella Bill. The cultural destruction and genocide of South Africa's minority communities with Bella, forcing all of South African children to learn in the colonial language of English. The destruction of heritage, which violates all tenets of the United Nations Self-Determination Clause. This whole episode of racial discrimination in South Africa, forcing small Xhosa children to learn to go to school at the age of 5 to learn in English as a language of instruction. The Chinese are following the South African model, now imposing their racist standards on all non-Chinese, all non-Mandarin speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. They get this from the ANC. Under a new ethnic unity law, Mandarin Chinese must now be the language of teaching, the media of instruction. Parents must guide their children to love the Communist Party. Neighborhoods should be mixed to wipe out ethnic minorities. It only took one journalist to write this article. I'm impressed. Wow, that's so rare with the New York Times. Usually need half a dozen racial minorities to write a story, but only one this time. Since China's leader Xi Jinping rose to power more than a decade, the ruling Chinese party has aggressively made ethnic minorities in Xi Jinping, Tibet, and elsewhere in the country identify first and foremost as patriotic citizens. Now they're forcing their 56 recognized ethnic groups to assimilate into Mandarin, to force them to be Chinese. But Tibetans are not Chinese, and Tibet's occupation is an illegal occupation, one which the ANC endorses. China stole the sovereignty of Tibet. It is occupied territory. Where the fuck are the complaints about colonialism with the Chinese Communist ANC? Where are your complaints? Where are your demands, ANC? Where are your complaints, African Union? You want to talk about colonial powers? China illegally occupies Tibet. They illegally occupied Tibet. They have taken colonial possession, and now they're trying to forcibly assimilate people into Mandarin Chinese. They are not Chinese. They are Tibetan. It is a sovereign nation stolen by criminals in Beijing. And where is the ANC? In support of this criminal activity. They support this criminal activity. They whine about Gaza. They say jack shit about Myanmar. They whine about Brent Bozell. They say jack shit about China's illegal occupation of Tibet. We have not forgotten China's illegal occupation of Tibet. Do not think for a moment we have forgotten that. Oh, Kutzman's curse. Not only did the ANC deny the Dalai Lama entrance once, they denied him twice. The ANC, of all organizations, we don't forget this either. They denied the Dalai Lama, a spiritual leader, a man of peace, entry into the country for an anti-racism conference. You can't make this up. And they denied him entry when he wanted to visit his friend, Bishop Desmond Tutu, for his 80th birthday. Hawaii comes to mind for what? There's no assimilation in Hawaii. People speak Japanese in Hawaii and Hawaii. What are you talking about, Mark? What are you talking about? There's no assimilation in Hawaii. There's no majority ethnic group. There's pluralities there. Anglos were the majority group, but they're now just a plurality. Defection-weary Iran will not send a soccer team to the World Cup. That's going to mess up FIFA's World Cup. The Iranian sports minister Ahmed Dunyamali announced Wednesday that Iran will skip the World Cup hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. beginning in June this year. Under no circumstance can we participate in the World Cup. Okay, well, good. No loss. You weren't going to win anything anyway. You're going to go winless. Shame. For the athletes, anyway. Middle East conflict is the largest oil disruption in the history of oil exploration and production and exploitation. 3 more vessels are attacked in the Gulf region. International Energy Agency said today the war in the Middle East is creating the largest supply disruption in the history of oil markets. The 32-member agency said oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery near Iran, have slowed from 20 million barrels a day to a trickle. Its monthly report said the global oil supply would plunge by 8 million barrels per day in March. That's kind of middling what I said. I said 2 million from Iran, 2 million from Kuwait, 8 million from Saudi Arabia. So that's pretty close to what I said. I said around 12 to 15, but that looks like 8 million is what they're saying. The price of Brent crude is flirting with $100 a barrel today. Yep, prices rose because new signs of turmoil in the Straits of Hormuz. Yeah. Well, new supreme leader is defiant amid a disruption in global oil supplies. There is the site of a strike in Iran. Muqtada Khamenei, Iran's new supreme leader, struck a defiant tone today in his first known public comments since succeeding his slain father. He vowed to keep blocking the Straits of Hormuz to avenge the blood of the martyrs. In written statements carried by Iranian state media, Mr. Khamenei said Iran would pursue an effective and regret-induced defense and that the lever of blocking the Strait of Hormuz must continue to be used. The New York Times claims 2,000 people have died since the attacks began. In his words of defiance, Iran's new supreme leader lashes out at the United States. He added that all U.S. bases in the region would be immediately closed or would be attacked. Must be closed. While Iran believes in friendship with its neighbors, Khamenei said attacks on U.S. bases in the region would continue. Unfortunately, he's not attacking bases. They're attacking civilian sites and civilian infrastructure. Airports, hotels, residential areas, port facilities. They're not attacking the bases. Only 1 or 2 U.S. military bases have been hit, despite thousands of missiles having been fired. In his first statement, he says Hormuz closure should be used as leverage. This moron is short for this life. He did not appear on camera. Yep. He signaled that Iran would pursue a prolonged campaign of retaliation. I assure everyone that we will not refrain from avenging the blood of our martyrs. He added each civilian killed by Iran's enemies constitute a separate case of revenge. Well, the thousands of Americans you've murdered are cases of revenge, so just get ready for this endless feud, you moron. He vows to attack shipping as attacks surge. Vessels in the Persian Gulf came under attack, including 2 tankers hit in Iraqi waters that caught fire and leaked oil. Bahrain said Iran targeted fuel tanks at one of its facilities. Once again, Bahrain's fuel facilities are not U.S. military bases, and that is an attack on civilian infrastructure. It's a crime against humanity, attacking its neighbors. This is not what belligerents are supposed to do. These countries are not at war with them. U.S. military says it's not ready to escort oil ships through the Straits of Hormuz. Well, perhaps we should have thought about this before we attacked Iran. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wyatt told CNBC News Channel that the markets are experiencing short-term disruption, predicting that the war would go on for weeks, not months. Well, I agree. It will be weeks. But in the meantime, things are getting a little spicy as 3 vessels come under attack. Well, Spain has gone full leftist batshit crazy, and they will soon become allies of the African National Congress. They will become allies of the African National Congress. Yep, no doubt. Spain's socialist government unveils a system to track and measure online hate speech. Wow. Opposition leader Santiago Abascal said the system mounts the government monitoring social media, and it could be used for censorship. It will be used for censorship and to target government opponents. That's what will happen, ladies and gentlemen. Spain's socialist Prime Minister Pedro Dumás Sanchez presented a new system on March 11th designed to analyze how hate speech spreads on social media, saying the tool will track the presence, amplification, impact of such content online. The new tool, called Judío, an acronym in Spanish for footprint of hatred and polarization, will allow the government to systemically track the presence, amplification, impact, what it deems as hate speech. What it deems as hate speech. Not what is hate speech. What the government of the day decides is hate speech. Yep. Well, Spain's socialist government has upped the ante and is going to risk their admission to the Schengen Agreement by allowing 500,000 criminal illegal aliens to stay in Spain. Backed by Spain's Catholic Church. What the hell is wrong with Spain's Catholic Church? Is it committing suicide? Most of these people are Muslims. They're letting the Reconquista of the Iberian Peninsula take place, sponsored by the Catholic Church. Wow. Spain's socialist-led government has announced plans to grant legal status to about 500,000 criminal aliens. Thousands of illegal people in this country work without rights and exploitative conditions. Not having legal status is capitalism's way, and this time, continue slavery in the 21st century. That's why this regulation is pure social justice, says Podemos, one of the left-wing parties. Excuse me? Why are these people working illegally? That's not slavery. They should be deported from the country. Slavery? No. Kick them out of the country. They don't belong there. There were 686,000 criminal aliens there in 2023. Now in 2025, it's 840,000. And they want to give 500,000 of them legal status, just like Joe Biden. Morons. Oil jumped back to $100 per barrel as Iran is stepping up attacks on tankers with drones, no doubt, and with artillery that they're firing at sea, it appears. Trump says U.S. will make a lot of money from oil prices. I'm beginning to wonder what the president's drinking in his water. How is U.S. going to make a lot of money from oil? We are not going to make a lot of money from oil. Oil producers are going to make the money. Middlemen are going to make the money. We are the largest oil producer in the world. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. We don't make a lot of money. The oil companies make a lot of money. The economy gets crimped. I'm sorry, Mr. Trump. I don't really understand that. We're not the world's largest exporter of oil. So I'm a little confused by the president's claim that we will make a lot of money. Who is we? The billionaires in Texas, Louisiana, California, Wyoming, Colorado? It's sure as hell not here. Sure as hell not here. DHS shutdown is approaching 1 month, and lines are getting longer at airports. We're not tapping into our oil reserves, Chugsy. Department of Homeland Security shutdown is approaching a second month with no signs of resolution. Senate vote to fund the department is expected to fail today. I don't know why it's expected to fail. Probably because of the filibuster. You need 60 votes. But yeah, so they are not going to let that happen. An encrypted message detected by the U.S. triggers warning about Iranian sleeper cells. An encrypted broadcast tied to Iran's regime could be an activation call for sleeper assets to launch attacks. U.S. authorities issued an alert after intercepting the encrypted message, which was delivered to clandestine recipients. The coded message could be marching orders for regime's covert operations or sleeper cells. The stealthy broadcast, which was transmitted outside internet and cellular networks and needed an encryption key to be accessed, was sent to several countries after Iran's supreme leader was killed. While the exact contents transmissions cannot currently be determined, the sudden appearance of a new station with international rebroadcast characteristics warrants heightened situational awareness. The FBI sent a notice last month that Iran intended to launch a drone swarm on the West Coast in response to U.S. military action. That has yet to materialize. And you're wondering how it could be done? From a commercial ship. It's not hard. Not hard to do. Now, the U.S. government under President Trump claims the U.S. knows the location of most Iranian sleeper cells. I'm sorry? We've got our eye on all of them. Then why aren't we rolling them up? If we know where they're at, why aren't we arresting them? I don't understand that. Earlier this month, Texas Governor Abbott warned about potential sleeper cells in Texas after Senegalese man fatally shot 3 people and injured more than a dozen at a bar in Austin, Texas. If the president knows, is John B. Wells here. Welcome, John. I didn't see you there. Welcome to the program. If the president knows where the sleeper cells from Iran are, why aren't we arresting them? Have they not committed crimes? Maybe that's why. Interesting. That one beggars imagination, ladies and gentlemen. That one beggars imagination. Well, James the Fossil Clyburn decides he's going to continue running for office, ladies and gentlemen. James Clyburn to run for House again, defying a push for generational change. The demon rat power broker has kept his plans under wraps, but seemingly wanted to be around to see the first black speaker once again. I'm sorry, New York Times, black is not a noun. It is an adjective describing the word speaker. In the English language, adjectives are not capitalized unless they come at the beginning of a sentence. Therefore, black is incorrect grammatically here. You morons following the Associated Press guide are wrong. Black is lowercase, not uppercase. Representative James Clyburn, the 85-year-old fossil from the Democratic Party in South Carolina, said today that he planned to seek an 18th term, breaking with other former congressional leaders and aging lawmakers who have announced retirements and testing his party's desire for generational change. Most of the old fossils are leaving Congress, but this octogenarian decides he wants to stay for another 2 years just for the vanity project of staying until a black leader is elected, the majority leader in the House of Representatives. Well, the Democrats are praying and hoping they can do that so they can spend the next 2 years talking about the systemically racist system of America where the president has been black and the Speaker of the House has been black and the Speaker of the House has been a woman. Yeah, they want to spend the next 2 years dividing Americans by race, gender, and ethnicity. And if they have a black speaker, they have a platform to do that. Right now, nobody listens to Hakeem Jeffries because he's an idiot. And if he gets the Speaker of the House, he'll still be an idiot. Nothing will change. Well, apparently the Iranian school was on the target list, as I said, and this is an intelligence failure. This school reportedly was there for nearly a decade, and we didn't know it? How do we not have updated target lists that are 10 years old? The strike killed at least 175, many of them children, and has raised questions as whether the military's use of AI to determine targets was a factor. I don't know. Are we using artificial intelligence to determine tactics and for our targeting? The Iranian military school, where schools of children were killed as the U.S. and Israel began their assault on the target list, may have been mistaken for a military site. No, it was mistaken for a military site. That's what I said from the outset. And to deny otherwise is a mistake. This is a failure by the Department of War. This is a failure. I mean, we have to be honest about our successes, about our failures. Don't cover them up. Don't lie about it. It's quite simple. But the fact that that was part of the base 10 years ago, the fact that the fence line still includes the base, the fact that the Iranians put a school on a military base and then pretended that it was not part of the base is the reason that these children are dead. That's the reason these children are dead. But don't deny that we were wrong, that our intelligence was poor. Well, lawmakers are frustrated, folks, about the DHS shutdown as lines at airports grow. Republican Democratic senators vented their frustrations Wednesday with the lack of progress in the funding of the Department of Homeland Security, which resulted in more Americans during long lines at airports around the country. This problem is expected to grow as more and more workers cannot come to work because there's no funding. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said his side had made repeated overtures to Democrats in the funding bill. He said the last offer of Homeland Security came from the White House nearly 2 weeks ago, and there's been no response from Democrats. Of course, because they want to shut this country down. They have no interest in governing. They have interest in ruling this country. That's what it's all about for them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in what could be a landmark suit, for those of you cheated by companies defrauding us out of our money, for instance, World Rugby defrauding me out of $90 on a $160 purchase from the UK, claiming that it was tariffs, when tariffs to the UK were just 10%. My purchase was $160. Therefore, it should have been $16 in tariffs. But they charged me $90 in tariffs. They defrauded me and stole my money, World Rugby, and I want it back. Well, Costco customers want their money back too. Costco sued by customer over tariff refund. A potential class action lawsuit seeks to force the retailer to pass along any refund it gets from the U.S. government to customers. And I want my money back from World Rugby. Costco is being sued by a shopper looking to get his tariffs back. Costco increased product prices to offset the cost of tariffs, but it hasn't promised shoppers a refund. Yep, shoppers won't get a government refund directly because they aren't the importer of record. The truly injured parties possess no direct avenue for redress, alleges the lawsuit. Agreed. 100%. 100%. See, we were gouged by some companies. Increasing costs is one thing. That's understandable. But gouging us $90 on a $160 purchase, that is not 10%. No. President Trump asked the Supreme Court for approval to cancel a deportation amnesty for 350,000 illegal Haitians in this country. The administration sought permission yesterday from the Supreme Court to cancel deportation amnesty for 350,000 Haitian migrants, saying lower judges have wrongly stymied President Trump's plans. That issue is TPS, temporary protected status, a grant of leniency from the usual immigration law. But TPS is temporary, and there are still Liberians here 36 years after they're granted TPS status. Yep. It currently covers 1.3 million people, including over 600,000 Venezuelans, who should all have their TPS revoked now that Nicolas Maduro is gone. They should all return to Venezuela today. So we saw the polls that claim that 2/3 of Americans oppose the Iran conflict. Well, now more honest polls are coming out, strangely enough, from the Washington Post. Yes. What do Americans think about the war in Iran? The Washington Post poll of 1,005 Americans finds less opposition to actions than what they thought there would be. 42% support the war, 17% are unsure, and 40% oppose it. Now, this comes in stark contrast to the bullshit polls that have been coming out recently from Fox News and others claiming that 60% of Americans oppose the conflict in Iran. Joe Rogan, once again, a leftist, and people love with Joe Rogan because of his podcast, but I've told you all along he's a leftist, and he continues to expose himself as a leftist with his positions that are anti-American. Thank you for the Michigan thing. I'll get to that. The influential podcaster has described the conflict as a sharp reversal of the policy of the president's campaign. He says that the conflict in Iran, Trump supporters feel betrayed. Well, where are these Trump supporters and what planet are they on? Trump has said all along that Iran can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. That's not new. Trump said that in his first administration. He said it in this administration. Joe Rogan, the influential podcaster, said on his show Tuesday that the war in Iran was crazy and left Americans feeling betrayed by President Trump, describing the conflict as a sharp reversal. It's not a reversal in his policies. It just seems so insane, Rogan said. He ran on no more wars, end these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even clearly define why we did it. This is why Joe Rogan is I don't understand why people love him, why he has 100 million viewers. I don't understand that, or whatever his viewer base is. The man can't string two sentences together. He gets well-known, famous people to come on his program and talk, and that's why people watch it. He has no intellectual chop whatsoever. He doesn't understand. We can't explain it. We did explain it. Are you dense, Joe Rogan? Are you not listening? Are you not listening? Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It cannot be a threat to the world's oil supply. It cannot be a threat to its neighbors. And what is it proving on every day? Attacking its neighbors. What the hell is wrong with him? Trump campaigned on no new wars. Yes, he campaigned on no new wars. Venezuela wasn't a war. It was an extradition. This is a bombing campaign. It will be over soon. Unbelievable. In December, he described a new plaque in the White House criticizing President Joe Biden as so crazy. And in January, he said the shooting of Renee Good by an ICE agent seemed all kinds of wrong, comparing the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota to large cities to the actions of Gestapo in Germany. Look, Joe Rogan doesn't know anything about the actions of Gestapo in Germany or about the actions in Minneapolis of ICE. Once again, this is a leftist who's exposing himself as left. He's always been a leftist. It's like the idiot from Saturday Night Live who everyone loves on HBO. What's his name? Phil Maher. He's a leftist. The fact that he's calling out Democrats doesn't mean he's suddenly got religion. Doesn't mean he suddenly got religion. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. His criticism of the 12-day-old war threatens political peril for Trump's party. No, it doesn't. I don't listen to Joe Rogan. Certainly not for political advice. Maybe for entertainment, but I don't even listen to him for that. President Trump has appointed Erica Kirk to the Air Force Academy Board. What? Erica Kirk. White House said that President Trump made a perfect choice in appointing Erica Kirk to succeed her late husband. President Trump has appointed Erica Kirk, widow of the late conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, to serve on the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors. The Board of Visitors is tasked with overseeing the Air Force Academy's academic and fiscal standards. It provides a semi-annual report outlining recommendations. The board reviews matters including morale, discipline, curriculum, instruction, physical equipment, fiscal affairs, academic methods, and other materials related to the academy. How is any of that something she's qualified for? She's a beauty queen. Because Charlie Kirk was on the board, they've put his wife on the board. Smells of nepotism to me. Well, Jill Biden will produce a memoir. Dr. Jill Biden will soon have a memoir. Jill Biden promised to set the record straight in an upcoming memoir. Former First Lady Jill Biden will be offering her perspective about President Joe Biden's decision to abruptly end his presidential reelection campaign. She took to social media to explain that her book, View from the East Wing, a memoir, will set the record straight. Parts of the story have been told, but not all of it. Yeah, it hasn't. All the corruption, all the fraud, the abuse of the Constitution, the suspension of civil liberties, the suspension of constitutional rights, none of that's been told. Yeah, the lies, the racism, the bigotry of the Biden regime, the invasion of America, none of that's been told. So, Jill, feel free to tell us all about that. Yeah, tell us all about that. She has a few degrees in stupidity, that's for sure. The auto pen. Tell us about that, Jill. How many documents did you sign with the auto pen, Jill? Yes, how many did Susan Rice sign? All right, that's the news for today, folks. If you got questions, bring them out. We're going to have some great guests on, not so much lately, though. Yeah, he's had some great guests on. That's why he's so popular. Most people don't like to be intellectually challenged, so they watch Joe Rogan. Says Light Rain. Temporary chaos for a better future, all thanks to Trump USA. Thank you, Martin. I guess companies didn't absorb the tariff cost at all. I wonder if companies will now think twice about passing it. Yeah, it's it's a mix of things. Some companies absorbed it, some companies did. Some companies took advantage of it. There are companies who received products and they didn't get any hit from the tariff, and retailers raised their prices. Yeah, no, there was a lot of gouging going on during this. Karen says, I sent you the DA clip with Pinole interviewing the DA mayoral candidate. Okay, all right. Okay, Karen, thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, who ended Gaza? Trump ended Gaza, exactly. He ended the Congo. No new wars, but there's also a difference between wars and stopping around. Exactly, Vanner Kruger, 100%. So Joe Rogan has got his head up his butt. Emily says, I'm afraid Trump has dumped the whole world in shit. No, he hasn't. What planet are you living on, Emily? What planet are you living on? Trump didn't dump the world in shit. The world was in shit when Trump arrived. He's cleaning up the world. You serious? He ended Gaza. He ended the Congo. He prevented war between Pakistan and its neighbors. What are you talking about? Dump the world in shit. Trump is cleaned the world up. It's amazing how people don't pay attention to current events. Joe Rogan changed his mind on a dime. Watch, he'll walk back his hard left view for a while, then he'll swing left again. Exactly, Cecilia, you're right. Hey, Peter Talliar, what's up? Rogan isn't thinking all conflict is bad, but what would happen if Trump didn't? Exactly. Let them launch a nuclear weapon and obliterate Israel. Kill 6 million, 9 million people. You watch. I'm excited to stress this, Debbie. Going for my second interview next week on Friday. Well, good luck with that, Debbie. Okay. Joe Rogan's a pothead, says Neil. Earl Abraham Koch. They use schools and hospitals, military bases to train their jihadists. Yep, I agree with that. Live on Fox is a shooting, says Renee. Let me go see if I can find that. Michigan shooting. Michigan shooting today. Shooting at Temple, Israel. Okay. 30-year-old killed. 2 injured gunmen in shooting. Three minutes ago. Let's go with that one. That'd probably be Detroit Free Press. Police are responding to an active situation just before 1 p.m. at Temple, Israel, in West Bloomfield. Reformed Jewish synagogues located. Okay, it doesn't say anything about fatalities. It just says that shooting is taking place. Okay. Okay, yeah, so there's no update on that, whether anyone's been killed or not. It keeps cutting out, says Danny Bierman. Sub-Saharans, picking okay. Spain will be crying for help very soon. Yep, I agree. War sucks. War does suck. I've been in war. And some veterans here watching the show. Aren't HLs the ones that must go with smoke? HL, you mean DHS? Is that who you're talking about? Colonial? No, it would be the FBI. Oh, I'm sure they put the children's school there on purpose. so it wouldn't become a target. I have flashback 78s in South Africa where there were dustbins in Durban as bombs were placed in them. Yeah, Karen, yeah, exactly. Who cares, black or white, as long as they can be a speaker that makes USA proud? Yeah, exactly. Well, James Clyburn cares. What else we got here in the chat here that I might have missed earlier? Somebody said John B. Wells was here. I didn't see John. There he is. Behold the original justification for what people call racism. There you go. Hey, John B. Wells. How's it going? If you're still here. I have a good story for me, says Michelle Robinson. Send me an email. If Michelle Robinson's still here, one of the mods put up the email address there, please. I didn't see anybody put up previously. Is the new Ayatollah leader not the same person who attacked the U.S. Embassy in Argentina? I don't know. Can't they just truck some of the oil from the start straight to the other side? Oh, that's insane. Oh, yeah, Will says, trust me, Colonel's nowhere near close to upset. No, I wasn't upset. Making a point there, guys. Making a point. Do we have a troll? We do have a troll emoji on the channel, don't we? I think we do. Cement Malawi cost 270 Rand for a 50 kg bag. Wow. Martin says I seem a bit upset. No, not at all upset there, Martin. Didn't the ANC deny it? Yeah, the ANC. The ANC, its policy of racial discrimination and cultural destruction is in place with Bella, and the Chinese have asserted the same policy now. Bedfellows. Fellow travelers. Poor DA. Yep, the ANC is going to return to Senator Mr. Boesel. They are stupid enough to do it. Mr. Trump, you're dealing with a primitive-style communist regime, says Andy. You might be right about that, Andy. You might be right about that. All right, that goes back as far as the chat will allow me to go. What do you know of Bannerman Island? I know nothing about it, Garrett. Trump says he's going to do something. He does it. Massive respect for him because he doesn't just talk. Exactly, Theo. Nas Bota is coming to stay in the USA. He's already here, Kobus. What comes after? After what, Red? After the destruction of the theocratic regime? Who knows? You've seen several articles about all the refugees wanting to return. I've seen one article about it in News 24, and it's not about refugees. It's a story saying that expats are coming back, but it's a misleading, dishonest story. Expats come back every year. Yesterday there was a member that had problems. Please see an email for attention. Questionable conduct. Well, I take that with a grain of salt. I will look at that right now. I find that hard to believe, questionable conduct. We'll take a look and see there. What is this? Hang on a second here. Give me a second here. Get to my mail. Questionable conduct. Let me look at that. I'm way behind on my mail, by the way, folks, since I've been ill. Here it is. Okay. Okay. All right, thank you for that. All right, so I've done what I can for that email. All right, I found it. I've done what I can for it, okay? Thank you, Sally. Do you have a tornado bunker? No, that's what basements are for. That's why we have basements in America. Joe Rogan should go back to Fear Factor. Look, I'm not attacking Joe Rogan. I'm just saying I've never understood the appeal of the guy. Nothing against him. To me, he's the dumb maintenance guy from news radio. I never watched his MMA stuff, so I don't know anything about that. And I never watched The Fear Factor because I found it ridiculous and juvenile, and that was not my cup of tea. So I don't know much about Joe Rogan, other than I tried listening to his podcast and fell asleep twice. No kidding, fell asleep. Must have been not the best guest the day I listened. Most liberals don't know anything about history, even if you live through it. Yeah, exactly. They forget things. Yeah, they forget. We haven't forgotten that China invaded and occupied Tibet. It's an illegal occupation. It's not Chinese territory. So should we just recognize it? By the ANC's logic, then South Africa belongs to the Boers because they conquered it. They occupied it. So there should be a free state, Orange Free State, and the South African Republic known as the Transvaal by their logic because they won it by conquest. Yep. Joe's light comedy rush is easy viewing and some see it. Yeah, exactly. Do you know this channel is using your content directly? Prince Waiko Pretoria. Looks like Nigeria. No, I don't. Let me see that. What time did you send that? 1:12. One of many that are doing that. There's so many people steal my content. Gosh, I'm way behind this chat here. Never heard of that channel, so let's see. I'll find out where he's using it. Let's see if I can find that channel. Priest. $5,000 subscribers. I was using my full videos, just stealing them. Thank you for that. Why are they no longer showing people's email addresses here? They don't put an email address. Thank you for that. I will deal with that. It's people who believe all the crap they read on Facebook. Exactly. You say have enough ships to just blockade the strait and look. Yeah, Caldonis, the issue isn't, see, that's the thing I've talked about, Caldonis. It isn't shipping. The Iranian Navy has very little. All they have left is apparently a few submarines that we've not accounted for, some little fast attack ships, those little speedboats and things like that. As far as we know, that's all they have. But that's not what's interdicting to shipping. Interdicting to shipping are drones. They're flying drones. You got to remember that it's only 3 miles across that narrowest part of the strait, but they're attacking all the way across the Arabian Gulf. So they are using drones, probably little speedboats flying out far enough to launch the damn things, and attacking these ships. So it's not as simple as, patrolling the sea. You have to shut down their ability to get ordnance into the Arabian Gulf, which is what the problem is. International Atomic Energy Agency was clear there was no enrichment. The U.S. is acting like a bully. No, Martin. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. The Iranians, by their own statements, have declared that they must be allowed to enrich uranium to 90%. There's no need for that for civilian use. There's no need for that. So you're wrong. Nice try, Martin. Nice try. Nice try. But you're wrong. You are wrong. But it's okay. People are allowed to be wrong. We cannot afford to rescue the whole world's rubbish. That's for darn sure, John B. Wells. We sure can't. We sure can't. Michigan is more than a shooting. Smoke rise from temple roof. No fly zone. Okay, well, that's not what the news reported, so the news must be coming updated there. Thank you. Joan Stewart, what's going on? For all that it's worth, I don't get to watch all the vids fully. Thank you very much, Rohan. Appreciate it. Asylum seekers and scammers, Mel and Pete Villion arrested in Florida for shoplifting because they say they're not allowed to work. Okay. All right. So that's what the conversation was about Mel and Pete Villion. Okay, let's see. All right. Mel and Pete Villion from Real Housewives arrested for shoplifting in the United States. Why are they here? Why are they even here? That's what you guys were talking about earlier. Okay? The Real Housewives, Victorian Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip South Africa may have fled the U.S. from South Africa, but is still getting, what do you mean she fled here? Survival mode. Has not worked since coming U.S. due to not having a visa. They've worked in concert during multiple acts of retail thefts. Surveillance video. Disgraced former attorney was struck from the court roll in 2011 and barred from practicing law. A couple in South Africa got in trouble due to the use of the Tammy Taylor brand. Oh yeah, despite the expiration of the license. So what are they doing in America? Did they come here illegally? A couple had conducted 50 transactions which they allegedly used ticket switching tactics. In 2025, it was reported the couple relocated to the U.S. with Pete going on a racist tirade to the media saying he wanted to get away from black South Africans, black and African empowerment. He said, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm racist and I hate South African people. Well, then we don't want him. Go back to South Africa. We don't want scumbags like this. When will they be reported back? Well, hopefully soon. Wow, what a plastic-looking bimbo. Man, that chick is a bimbo, bimbo, bimbo. Huh. Wow. That's what you guys are talking about. That's what you guys are talking about. Okay. That one I didn't know about that story. What do you mean playing these mines, Jay? What do you mean playing them? You mean laying the mines? No, some are laid along the surface. I mean, some are laid along the bottom on chains and cables that run up. And there's different ways. Different ways they do it. She's sponsored by Tupperware. That'd be interesting. He's also been, I don't know anything about him. He looks like a twit. When I couldn't sleep, scrolling YouTube, found 2 new channels that seem to see things the same way you do. Going to wait and see their future content. Rising Africa and Rian Rusho. All right. Thank you, Karen. Oh, man. Can't kick this thing. Fiener used to work for that reporter. Which one? Maritzka Kutzer? Or Utulando Kiteye? Or Joel Ontlong? Which one? There were 3 journalists there. We had an interview about the draining with positive experiences, Sally. Okay. They defrauded and stole from people opening a Tammy Taylor franchise. I think they actually have a YouTube channel. Well, they won't be in Florida for long. Time to go get a cup of coffee. Okay, well, they fled from legal justice. Well, good. Let's send them back. Why didn't the South Africans ask for extradition? Well, they're here illegally. They must have come here and applied for asylum after they arrived in country. Connor Clochesi. Good evening, Ireland time. Welcome, Connor. How's it going? Well, I'm sorry, Connor, but I'm rooting for Scotland this weekend. Just saying. I'm rooting for Scotland. Apologies for that. But just so you know that ahead of time, let's take a look when this is on, because I'm still recovering. I'm going to cover the game whether I'm sick or not. Saturday at 10 o'clock, I'll be covering that game. Yep. And then France and England, because that could determine whether, if Scotland can win, you get a bonus point victory, then they've got a chance. They've got a chance to win the Six Nations. Yep. Xander Fagerson will be back. That's good, because they've lost a number of players, including Duhan Fundameva. But England, which lost to Italy, Italy will probably beat Wales. No doubt about that one. But no games on Friday. They're all on Saturday. So be a busy day. But I'll only cover the Ireland game for sure at 10:10. So that's around the news time here. So on Saturday. So maybe I'll do the news early. We'll see if I'm feeling up to it. All right, what else we got here? Well, Evan is in Japan, isn't he? Stormers, Bulls, they're not playing this weekend, are they? No, that's not this weekend. URC. Oh, it is this week. No. Okay, hang on a second. Let's take a look at matches. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, it is Saturday. Bulls and Storm. Is that a makeup game? Okay, I will be covering that game. Yep, I didn't see that. Thank you for reminding me. Gosh, what did you sob about, Fleshin? Or no, Fleshin. Oh, Fleshin says, no, they won't beat the Welsh. The Welsh look a lot better, man. They had a much better game. Scotland have a nice style play when they play all the way through the game, but they give up late in the game. Look up depth charge on Google, yeah. Colonel... Thanks, Colonel, for telling how it is and the true love, your news. Well, thank you, LZ Chernaval. Bleshins is convinced that the Welsh will win against the Italians. Mike Bull said they'll be deported. Who is Mike Bullhois? Okay. What's your take on the Israel-USA versus Iran war? LaCroix, are you serious? We've only been talking about it for 12 days. What do you mean, what's my take? Be more specific. Tupperware's bankrupt. That explains why. It could be. Yeah. Yeah, so the Stormers game, thank you for that, Garrett. That's at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Somehow I missed that. Wow. Okay, I'll cover that game too. So I'll have back-to-back games. Okay. So it'll be Stormers and Bulls, and then that's a makeup game. There's 3 makeup games this week. Edinburgh and Ulster, Connacht and the Scarlets, and the Bulls and Stormers. So, yeah, I'll be covering that. Okay. And it won't help the South African sides because their players aren't playing on the national sides. So, yep. Oh, what's my take on young Republicans visit South Africa? I've covered that several times, Sonic Hawk. I'm not impressed by it. They're spreading misinformation unintentionally and not helping the argument. It doesn't help to misstate things. That's what News 24 does all the time. It's like News 24 called the evidence that President Trump presented in the Oval Office last year as mock evidence. It wasn't mock evidence. Trump was incorrect and misstated a couple of things, but it doesn't change the fact that the evidence was genuine. For instance, the story that he presented was a story by the American Thinker. The American Thinker pilfered a photograph from Reuters story about Goma. And in that story, on the American Thinker, they talked about the DRC and South Africa. The story was about South Africa, even though it was a picture. But unfortunately, Trump referred to it as dead white people, and that wasn't what it was. It was dead black women in the Congo. So he got a few things wrong, but it doesn't refute the evidence. And instead of being honest and objective and presenting both sides, the president's mistakes and the facts as they exist, News 24 calls it mock evidence. It's not mock evidence. There's no trial going on here. Hey, Mike, I got a link about Fionn. And okay. Thank you for that, Mike. You can send that to me. It's not mock evidence. Not mock evidence. Yeah, it would be great to play England this weekend and get revenge on them because they're looking pretty sad. I think the French are going to roll over them. Although the French just got smacked down, so. LaCroix just got back from an extent in the Congo. Oh, no. Don't go back to my previous videos, LaCroix. You can ask your question here because you're going to have to search through. I talk about it endlessly over the past 12 days. No, ask your question specifically. But the young Republicans, Sonic Hawk, they're not helping the story. They went to the Wit-Kruis Monument and said, we found the crosses that President Trump was talking about. No, you didn't. President Trump wasn't talking about the Wit-Kruis Monument in Mpumalanga. He was not talking about that. That was not what he was talking about. He was talking about footage of the Normandian event in which crosses were put out there by Darrell Brown, 1,000 crosses representing 1,000 white farmers and their family members butchered on farms in South Africa. And this was in tribute to Glenn and Vita Rafferty, who were slaughtered on their farm. Yes, that's what that was about. That is what Trump was talking about, and he incorrectly referred to them as grave sites, grave mounds. They weren't that. That's an error. But instead of telling the truth, the media neglects to point out that these were dead people. You know, they just make it out like, well, they just put a bunch of crosses up because somebody got murdered. No, those were 1,000 murdered people. See, this is the problem with whoever's briefing President Trump. They don't know what they're talking about. They're poorly informed. This is unfortunate. Or President Trump is just ad-libbing and it's not helping. Kind of like when he ad-libbed and said, you know, Iran has Tomahawks. Iran doesn't have Tomahawk missiles. I'm sorry. They don't. They don't. The U.S. has Tomahawk missiles. The U.K. has Tomahawk missiles. Australia has Tomahawk missiles. And the Netherlands is buying them, along with Japan. Iran does not have Tomahawk missiles. You can't ad-lib like that when you don't know what you're talking about. It's a mistake. So my thoughts to the young Republicans, they're ad-libbing. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not helping the situation. They're not helping the situation. And they're decision to call for a special representative for South Africa when the ambassador just arrived there was deeply insulting to President Trump and to the United States. What are they thinking? Last year, when there was no ambassador, Rob Hersoff suggested a special envoy for South African minorities. He wrote a letter to President Trump. He did a video about it, and he mentioned me by name to be that envoy. That was smart. There was no U.S. diplomatic representative in South Africa. It wasn't insulting. But them calling for the exact same thing when we just have an ambassador arrive there was deeply insulting. I'm not impressed by what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They also all look like a bunch of freaking guys on the street corner selling drugs. Shaggy beard, shaggy hair, conservative? No, I'm sorry. Maybe they are, but I'm not buying what they're selling. LaCroix, what's your question? Depth charges are not mines. That's correct. Depth charges are dropped from ships to sink submarines. Yep. think they're implying if the waters patrol, the military ships are sunk, how are they laying mines? The mines are already laid. The mines are already laid. No, it doesn't take a specialized ship to lay mines. It does not. It can, but it can also be done in rudimentary fashion. It's just less effective. But specialized ships, mine layers, do it very effectively. Okay. News 24's problem is they're always talking when they should be listening. Exactly. Was caught once for taking chocolate when really hungry. Magistrate asked why I didn't take bread if I was about hunger. I asked him if he'd ever tried putting a loaf of bread up his sleeve. That's clever, Smee again. Explain why the U.S. has no petrol attendants to fill your car. Is there a reason for that? Yeah, Charles, I can. The U.S. had petrol attendants. That was nature. Watch Andy Griffith's show, and you'll see that Gomer Pyle is a petrol station attendant. Goober is a petrol station attendant. We always had people pumping our gas. That fell away in the 1970s when gas lines became ridiculously long, and the cost of gas, the margins on selling gasoline became thinner and thinner. As margins on gasoline selling became thinner and thinner, petrol stations reduced the number of people that they employed there, and made it possible for people to pay for their services at the pump or pump the gas and pay inside for one person. The one person inside responsible for collecting money for the petrol payments also is a person that can be inside receiving payments for drinks and snacks and food and newspapers and magazines and little tchotchkes and things like that. And the petrol stations found out that they make most of their money actually from what they sell inside the shop, not from the gasoline. Therefore, they only need one or more employees inside, not people pumping gas. There is an exception. New Jersey, by law, forces people to have their gasoline pumped by an attendant. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. I go out of my way to never buy petrol in the state of New Jersey because I will pump my own gas. To me, it's about lazy. It's like the people who go and sit in a queue of 20 cars long waiting for takeaway when they can park their vehicle, get off their bum, walk inside, don't waste petrol, don't pollute the planet, and get their food inside. That's what I prefer to do. When I find a McDonald's or a fast food place that is closed after a certain hour, I just refuse to go get food from there. I'm not going to sit in my car and go through a drive-thru unless it's absolutely necessary, unless I'm desperate for food. Yep. So, Charles, I hope that answers the question. Lived in the States where they had attendants in the past, but I think it's simply a way to save money. Well, Light Rain, I've answered that. They don't know how many illegals are in the country, yet they claim to know how many white South Africans returned. Exactly. Oh, how do you think the war is going to end and will be soon? LaCroix, okay, thank you. So my projection when the war started was 6 weeks. I said it will last at least 6 weeks to accomplish what the U.S. government had set out as objectives. Unlike Joe Rogan, I understand the objectives because I pay attention to the administration. It's clear to me what the administration's objectives are. They've changed since the outset of the conflict, and therefore I've adjusted my timeline to 2 months. I expect it to be over within 2 months. Initially, I said 6 weeks. Now I expect it to be 2 months. The reason I say that is because their objective now includes regime change. Well, regime change is much more difficult than simply crushing the attack capability of the Iranians. So, there you go. Used to be a Pretoria bouncer. Oh, turned PI. Okay. Thanks, Garrett. Didn't know that. I know not kosher to mention other channels. Please forgive me, but I'm hoping these two YouTubers may get through to people who haven't found you yet. That's fine, Karen. Whatever. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's not cool to mention other channels when an event is live and breaking. Oh, like people did when I was covering Senegal. Oh, go watch Loving Life. They've got people on the ground. Go watch it. I'm like, fine. And people said it in the chat and I ignored it. And they said it and they said it and they said it like 6 times. Finally, like, just go. Go watch it. No one's holding you here. I lost about 200 or 300 people. They went there and found out that it was boring. The coverage was ridiculous, and Scott Bolson's insight was non-existent. His analysis was pathetic. So within 15 minutes, I had an audience with thousands more showed up on my channel that left there. LaCroix agrees with me on the drive-thrus. I check my own oil, water, and tire pressure. There you go. Well, see, this thing that always got me, you pull up, would you like us to check the water and the oil pressure? Why would you do that? See, I don't understand it. Am I missing something physically, the law of physics? Motor oil must be checked when it's cold and it's congealed, so you know the actual amount that's in the crankcase. When an engine starts and the temperature zooms up to 175 degrees within moments and then up to 200 or higher, the oil heats up. When it heats up, oil expands. When it expands, it fills up more space. That's why you only fill it to a certain level so you don't overflow it and blow your seals. The same with water. When water is hot, it expands, not to the same level that the oil does. Also, who would want to open a radiator when boiling water is on there and watch it shoot out and burn you? And who would put water in there? Someone would evaporate as it comes out because it's cooler. I never understood the concept of pulling in, would you like me to check your oil and water? Or your tires. It's the same thing. Your tires must be checked when they're cold. You don't check the inflation of your tires when you've driven for 2 hours. They're warm. The molecules inside there, whether it's oxygen or air or nitrogen, have expanded because they're busy acting. They've been heated up by the action. The same with the oil. I don't understand. I've never understood. Am I missing the laws of physics here? Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong? Have I gone through my entire life misunderstanding the purpose of checking oil, water, and tires at a petrol station? It makes no sense. If I'm going to check my tire pressure, I'm going to check it before I leave the house. Same with the oil. Rohan says, no way going back to South Africa. Snow started in Richmond. Well, it was 70-some degrees here yesterday. Now it's 35 degrees. It's insane. And I had freezing rain hit the house last night. I bet you my solar panels are covered. In fact, let me see if there's even any solar activity going on. Let me take a look and see. It is afternoon, so the sun should be past the top of the roof now. Let's take a look at my solar activity and see if there's anything happening at all. I doubt it. I seriously doubt I'm getting anything, if much. Let's see. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it is, but come on, a little faster here. Nope. I'm getting less than 1 kilowatt hour, and I should be getting about 5 or 6 kilowatt hours right now. Yep. No, there's nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Yep. It must be covered in ice. Yep. Anyway. Oh, get solar. It's the answer. No, it's not. No, it's not. Since I didn't pay for it, that's why I got it. Cold engine should be 3/4 full in oil. Hot engine half full. Don't forget to check if the brake shoes are tied in the proper bunny ear configuration. Mad Max met a lady and her husband from Harrisonburg. Okay. ExxonMobil is moving from New Jersey to Texas. I didn't know they were in New Jersey. That's interesting to me. I thought they'd be registered in Delaware next door. Thank you, Joe Texas, for sharing that. I'm not surprised. By the way, folks, Arctic said, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I thought it was Arctic that said that Landman Season 2 sucked. Did I get that right? Was that Arctic that said that? I don't know. Last night when I took time off, I laid down and tried to rest. And when I was resting, I watched the rest of Season 2 of Landman. I thought it was amazing. Vape cough. I don't vape. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't vape. What are you talking about in the immortal world? It's not a vape cough. You're high. It's an influenza cough is what it is. Here goes my signal. Okay, and many people here in Harrisonburg, and I wonder who you met. And if I don't know, Rohan, I don't know. Never checked your blinker fluid. That's funny. No, immortal, I don't vape. I don't know where you get that from. That may sound like a vape cough, but it's sure as hell not a vape cough. That stuff is bad mojo. I don't touch that stuff. Nope. Yeah, Charles, the petrol tenants, I'm glad you got. When can we start looking at the universities pushing anti-white narratives? There are the facade that allows the corruption in government. They're easy to locate in curriculum. What do you mean, can we look at it? It's being looked at. No, it's okay, Immortal Wardle. I'm just saying, you're smoking something, man. Maybe you're vaping. I don't vape. Nope, I don't vape. I find it a disgusting habit. And people illegally vape. I see them at sporting events vaping. I see them on airplanes vaping. No respect for other people. Colonel, we girls are not taught to do petrol stuff. It's scary to fill my tank for the first time, but it's so easy. It is easy, Renee. It's very easy. Yeah, Landman is awesome. Yes, Eves Lombard, I agree. Maybe watch the new movie War Machine. Okay, Meerkat, if I get a chance. Okay. I haven't watched Melania yet. I'll get around to that. Alan says the higher the viscosity of the oil is, the less the expansion when heated. Better viscosity will only expand by 50 cc's on dipstick. Yeah, but as was pointed out earlier, Alan, thank you for the 99 Rand, when your engine's warm, it appears you have less oil than you have. Yep. Vaping causes popcorn lung. Ugh, I don't know about that. When can you start planting strawberries again? Now. Now's the time to start planting strawberries and raspberries. And unfortunately, I'm not outside planting my raspberries. I got to clean my raspberry bush out and start all over. I saw you bit your tongue when Ronaldo didn't even know the history of the Union and Republican flag. I chuckled. The old flag was hoisted first, 1928. No disrespect. My point is that the Union flag, I have an issue with that. The people calling it a racist symbol, they're full of crap. It's not a racist symbol. It doesn't represent apartheid. It represents unification. It's a symbol of unity. And that's the problem. Same symptoms, Colonel. Stubborn flu won't quit. Yeah, Cutman's curse. Yeah, I got you. I picked it up in Western Pennsylvania, I believed. So, have you seen the Iranians' demands? No, they have demands on Trump. That's funny. When did that come out? It wasn't available this morning. Okay, so Rohan got his Social Security number in Harrisonburg very quickly. Yeah, you can schedule your own Social Security appointment if you know what you're doing. You don't need your case officer to do it, as far as I know. Etiquette is not regarded as it used to be. I say that as someone who vapes. Yeah, look, thing announced. It doesn't mean everybody who vapes is a terrible person. I wasn't stating or implying that, and you didn't also infer that. I just want to make it clear for some people who will infer that. No, I'm just saying that, yeah, right. It's like smokers who have no respect for other people. Our veterans organization, we have a serious problem. Very disrespectful people keep smoking in front of our building and throwing their cigarette butts in front of our building. It's disgusting. You don't go to military base and find cigarette butts laying around. I'm so sick of it. It's so sick. Filmed in your valley. Okay, Joe, that's pretty cool. Not much of a valley there. It's all flat. Iran was offered free nuclear fuel. Yes, it was to power their nuclear power plants. They don't need to enrich fuel. The U.S. promised to give them all the fuel they needed for civilian use, but they don't want it because they want a nuclear weapon. They want a nuclear weapon. Much we know about South African involvement in the USA rugby team. Well, there's South Africans playing on the USA rugby team. Bobby Jean asked one lady wants to check her car's oil and tire pressure. Now we're married for 22 years. That's pretty funny, John. Whew. Started working at a warehouse with horrible hours. Oh, you got a new job on Monday, Rohan. Congratulations. 8 to 5. That's pretty cool. Use tap or kettle water radiator. Only use industrial grade. Exactly right. Don't take the spigot hose and pour it in there. And then all those minerals will clog up your fins and your radiator. Yep, it's got to be clean water. I only put antifreeze in mine. I don't put water in there. Yep. Don't put water in my radiator. No, antifreeze. Yep. Whew. Yeah, the Sonic Hawk bacon grease. What car is running off bacon grease? South African involvement. Well, Gary Gold was the coach. He's a South African. He was USA coach. Has the best record ever as a USA rugby coach. The winning record. Yep, Gary Gold nearly took us to the World Cup. Unfortunately, one player got over exuberant at the end of the game when we'd won a penalty with an easy kick right in front of the post and rushed in side entry, and it cost us a penalty and we lost the game. Yep, so we didn't go. Chile went instead of us. Had a campus shooting this morning. Old Dominion. Gunman was shot. 2 people injured. Didn't see that. These are probably the sleeper cells. You know, that's probably what's going on here. It'll be portrayed as mass shootings in America, but it's terrorism most likely. It's probably these sleeper cells that people are talking about. So, yeah, just saying. Anyway, I guess that doesn't tell me. It's not going up by 100 every time now. 10,000 followers. Huh. I'm looking at Facebook real quick here. It's acting up a little funny here. Anyway. Just walk in. You'll find no cues like somebody walked in, hardly sat down, and when they saw us, okay, all just sit. What? Okay, first off, you don't get to type in all caps on my channel. Second, What is your major malfunction, Ferdosh? What the hell's your problem? Explain yourself. What's that? I can't see what that is. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Diane Stewart. Appreciate that. I don't know how expensive Jazz Festival is. I bought tickets. They weren't that bad. Yeah, I do it every weekend, except for when they've got something special going on. So I haven't heard from... In fact, let me see if I'm checking here from Chris. Okay. Missed everything. On the car theme, I've always wanted to ask what your dream car would be. Oh, I've never had a dream car. I've never been into cars that much. For me, they're always a mode of transportation. They lose their value the moment they drive off a lot. I don't care for maintaining cars. I've done it. I've replaced starters and adjusted points and plugs back in the day, and you know, replaced mufflers and, you know, put gaskets, head gaskets. I don't care for that. I like doing mechanical things, but not on automobiles. No, I don't mind. I don't like that. I used to build computers. That's a lot more fun than getting inside the engine of a car or parts of a car. No, I've never had a dream car as such. I mean, if I had a car right now, I would have a massive SUV. You know, if I had my way, that's what I would have. Big SUV that's very luxury. Yeah, that would be my cup of tea. Cutman's Curse says, nothing shouts at the TV like a South African rugby supporter. Obviously, you haven't watched my broadcast and my play-by-play and color commentary of rugby. My dad pulled me in the garage from a very young age, so if something breaks on my car, I can fix it. Well, same here, James. I can fix things in my car too, but it's not worth my time. It's really not worth my time, particularly with everything that's through a computer module now. So, do you still do interviews and do you do weekends? Yes, I still do interviews. I do them all the time. And I still do weekends. Yes, I do weekends, except when rugby's playing, and then I still try to make videos and do something. Most of the jobs you're finding on LinkedIn require you to be a U.S. citizen, which I kind of respect, giving people their jobs first. But no. See, that's... you only have to be a U.S. citizen if you need a clearance. You need to... Immortal Wardle, if you're in the American, I don't know if you are, but you're saying remote. Yeah, you can't apply for jobs. So when they say U.S. citizen, normally it means permanent residency or work authorization. So if you come here, you can apply for a job. The only jobs you're probably not going to be able to get that require U.S. citizenship are working for the government that require clearance. Yep. No, I don't care for Mustangs. I don't care for Corvettes either. Impalas, no. None of those cars do anything for me. Stingray, nah. Complaining by putting its logo on loaves of bread. What? Oh, campaigning by putting its logo on proofs. Okay. Your age watching rugby is the reason I enjoy having his commentary for game. Lifts us. Yeah, exactly, Vernon. I really get into it, don't I? Porsche Speedster. Well, actually, okay, I'll tell you what I do like. Landman, the Bentley that she has. Oh, that is a sweet looking ride. I can only imagine what all the functions and bells and whistles are inside the car, but that is a sweet looking ride. That Bentley that Ali Larder drives on Landman, that silver Bentley, I'll take one of those. How's that? Is that okay, guys? What's that, about $255,000, be my guess? Yeah. Yep. And I'm not on chronic medication. Tests show that whiskey kills a lot of things. A P-51 Mustang is a plane, not a car. How do you watch rugby from here? From where, Rohan? Where are you? Tell me where you are. I can't answer that question unless I know where you are. From the USA. Okay, well, I assumed you're in USA. Well, unfortunately, you have to have multiple ways to do it. So, test matches and World Cup and Sevens matches are covered mostly by Peacock. It used to be NBC Sports. You have to have a subscription to Peacock to stream it. To pay for that online. And you only get to watch a few games a year because there's not much there. The Six Nations, I watch that through Peacock. I have a subscription which is currently free, which they're going to start charging me for, and I'll probably cancel my cable when they do that. So you have to have Peacock for Six Nations, for test matches. You have to have Paramount Plus now for some games. I forget which games I was watching, but Paramount Plus, I don't know if it's the Sevens or something else, but something is on Paramount Plus. I needed it recently for Paramount Plus, so I had to sign up for Paramount Plus to watch the USA play a game. If you want to watch South African games for the Curry Cup and for URC, then you have to have Flow Rugby, FLORUGBY.com, Flow Rugby. You don't need Flow Sports, just sign up for Flow Rugby. It's a lot cheaper. Yep. Flow Rugby has all of these games. And then you still need to have a Rugby Pass TV. You have to have that from World Rugby. And that will get you some of the other games you can't get. Like I was able to watch the Velviches trying to qualify for the World Cup when they lost out. You can watch that on Rugby Pass TV. So Paramount Plus, Peacock, Flow Rugby, Rugby Pass TV. And that's the ones you need for now. It's a real pain in the ass trying to find these games. It's never easy. No, CNN does not like Trump. Will you be going? Yes, I've mentioned that many, many times, Rohan. You must not have been here watching. I have a ticket for the game, New Zealand versus South Africa, in September in Maryland. Yes, and I'll be staying overnight on Friday night and having a get-together between the two stadiums, Oriole Park and the Raven Stadium. I'll be getting together with people. Yep, I would do the Inner Harbor, but it's gone to crap. It's not worth hanging out in anymore. But I will be there, and I will be staying overnight Friday and then departing Saturday. So, yep. I can see Colonel Chris and A-Team Van saying, love it when a plan comes together. Yeah, I do love when a plan comes together. Yep, I will be at the game. Absolutely. I don't really care for Humvees. I've ridden around enough of them being shot at. I'll pass. Okay. Good night. Oh, thank you, Greta, for being here. But I'm talking about the American companies directly, not the agencies. I know you can apply through them, but the waiting list is pretty long. Okay, Immortal Wardle. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. There are American companies that hire a lot of South Africans, so I'm not sure. But maybe it's through companies. I don't know. Don't know the answer. Missed most videos, but I dropped as many likes. Well, thank you for that. CBX was 100% originally, except the exhaust was a Crowley 6-in-1. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know about the Roush Mustang. I know nothing about that, Iceman. No, P-51 Mustang is a World War II aircraft, so I don't know anything about that. All right, cool. All right. We're talking about cars, muscle cars today. What's going on there? Not a topic I usually discuss. Jeep Wagner had I-cylinder cat engine, dream car. Okay. I had a 350 5.7 liter small block Chevy V8 engine in a Bedford camper van. Wow, Karen. Wow. Mercedes Gullwing. You have tulips in the background this year. I haven't been in the store to see if they come out. Yeah, I will get tulips if they come out. I'll put them behind me. Yep. My tulips out front aren't coming up, so that's a little concern. Can do almost anything, but for some reason plumbing still eludes me. I suppose getting annoyed too. Yeah, plumbing is annoying. Yep, it is. It is very annoying. What do you like to drink, Caldonis? Well, I used to like to drink soft drinks, but I don't drink them all that much anymore. I like to drink sweet tea, and I like to drink the Starbucks. Yep. I haven't had a Starbucks in days. I don't have the desire for a Starbucks while I'm sick. What is Don asking? Just described your channel. I wanted to ask, what's your take on all the news circling about South Africa? Okay, first off, Donna, I need to make a video about that. There aren't South Africans returning to America, okay? There are, but there aren't. Let me explain, Donna LaRue. Thank you for your subscription. Okay, those news stories are intended to dissuade people from participating in the refugee program and also to promote the fiction that South Africa is well. It's not. Its economy is a shambles. Its race-based laws are hindering economic progress and dividing society. The criminality that is rampant in the police, in government, across the board, from the president all the way down, accused of all kinds of misdeeds, is just shocking. South Africa is not a healthy place for people to go to. What the story is taking is factual information and misrepresenting it. I saw the News 24 story. It's factual information, and Leon Schreiber should be ashamed of himself. They are claiming that South Africans are coming back to South Africa. Newsflash, South Africans return to South Africa every week, every month, every year, and more leave the country every day, permanently. The people who come back are H-2A visa holders, other visa holders, people who were working for HSBC Bank in Canary Wharf under a contract for 3 years, people working for a Japanese company in a power industry for a 3-year tour or for a 2-year tour, people who've gone abroad to study, people. What they're trying to imply is that people who've gone abroad for the refugee program have given up and come back. That is a complete fiction and lie, number one. Number two, they're trying to imply to the uninformed that what is going on here is that South Africa is a better place to come to and people are coming home. People always come home, but more people are leaving. 82 people per day leave South Africa. You do the math. 82 people per day. Let's do 82 people per day, okay? 82 people times 365 days. How many is that? That's 30,000 people per year leaving the country permanently. That was before the refugee program. That's permanently leaving the country. And it's probably more than that. That's the numbers we know about. These are South Africans located abroad on their own. And people are coming back. The story claimed that 1,000 people come back from America. I'm sure they have. We have well over a few thousand South African H-2A visa holders. And they go back after their 6-month or 9-month or whatever their tour is because their visa expires. That's a normal course. They found one South African that they interviewed from California who said that this is a dangerous country, people being shot every day. He's so full of shit, his eyes are brown. There's no gunshots here. There's no danger here. There's no riots here. There's no racism here. There's no discrimination here. There's no poverty here. There's poverty a few miles away, but not here where I live. I live in central Pennsylvania. There are no shootings here. There have been no homes broken into in my neighborhood in the entire time I've lived here. No churches have been burned. No mass shootings anywhere around here. This is an idiot who lives in California. He's unhappy with it. And so he chooses to defame a country the size of a continent based on something that he never experienced. So he can go back to South Africa for all he wants. I need to make a video on this because it's become quite annoying, this whole story. People are falling for it. Donna, people need to be more discerning when they read News 24 because it's propaganda. So much what they report is pure propaganda. And this is one of them. Hey, Stephanie Hatzamichael, I've missed you. I love that surname. So there you go, Donna. Yeah, so that's the reality. Are you still there, Donna? Stephanie says, things are bad here. I'm usually positive about something, but really need change urgently. Yep. Rational Standard on Substack debunked the story of refugees returning. I don't know what Rational Standard is. Rational Standard. Okay. Apparently I've been there before. No, you have to subscribe. Oh, okay. Exposing the white refugee host. Oh, Ernst von Sale. That's who did. Okay. The Reuters article that spawned the false claim is based on the testimony of 3 returning white expats. One who left the U.S. in 2003, one who left for the U.S. 20 years ago, one who left for the Netherlands in unspecified time. Secondly, it's based on a comment by Minister of Home Affairs that 1,000 people reclaimed their citizenship. No race or country was specified by the minister, and there is no indication that any of these expats used Trump's refugee offer. Yeah, exactly. Original article cites comments from South Expats Facebook group as evidence. The comments of 10 people to be exact, 7 from Europe, 3 from USA. Once again, their race is not specified, no proof of why they were refugees. Exactly. Furthermore, the article fails to acknowledge and provide evidence against the very real issues that drove thousands of white South Africans to seek refuge status in the United States. Yep, this disproportionate amount of coverage given to the proverbial non-event story shares many similarities to 2025 Not in Our Names letter scandal. This dodgy story involved a handful of predominantly left-wing Afrikaner journalists and academics signing a letter to create impression. Yep. So Ernst von Sale wrote that. Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah, Ernst von Sale. Yep. Yep. So, yeah, it's just, I'll make a video on it. I've just been sick. Otherwise, I would have done it sooner. Yep. I would have done it sooner. So, Donna, don't, it was Donna, right? Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that nonsense. Thank you, Daisy, for sharing that to me. It's, I don't know the Rational Standard. Got arrested and sent back. The hooker was sent home with Pete. What are you talking about, Dylan? Do refugees who transfer personal from South Africa usually lose refugee benefits? Yes, they do, Sonic. Some of the entitlements, but then I don't know how they prove that. I mean, it's up to your integrity and honesty. Also, if you don't have the money and can't transfer it right away, you still get the benefits. Then you transfer it later on. Then, figure it out. But yes, if you have resources, your assistance should be reduced by that. And when you get a job, what benefits you have get reduced too. So, but I mean, you're not coming here for benefits, are you? I mean, is that the purpose? I don't understand. So refugees want to come here to leech off of taxpayers, or they want to be safety. So yes, but yes, it's true. Discuss staff as an immigrant, then come back and they end up remembering why they left and end up leaving a second time. That's true too. Leo is smarter than the entire ANC government combined. Who? Leon Schreiber? No. He's already carried the water for the ANC twice, attacking the United States on the 16th of December in Woodmead, and now with his lies about the people coming back. Okay. Donna says, thank you for your response. I truly appreciate it. I thought as much as that was propaganda. It is propaganda, Donna. Well, with a name like Rue, I kind of figured you were South African. Yeah. In fact, everyone who wants to live a good God life will be persecuted, all evildoers. I don't know about that, Immortal. Miss Stephanie missed me too. Well, I'm glad to see you back. Andreas Muller, what's going on, man? 14 Rand, what's your thoughts on a convertible BMW? I don't like convertibles. I don't like them. It's easy for anybody to come up with a knife and damage your vehicle. Also easy for anybody with a knife to break in your vehicle. Not my cup of tea. I don't like convertibles. I don't like anything that could possibly leak. I pass on that. Yep. Leaving South as soon as my approval comes through, says Spartan. Okay. Yeah, and Sonic says, if you have funds to support yourself, they reduce the assistance. That's correct. You heard it correctly, Sonic, but why would people care? If you have the funds to support yourself, then why do you need assistance? Right? South African deli owner in England on YouTube, and he's just visiting back home, and he's shocked at the cost of living there now, and it's not that long since his last visit. Yep. What is Spartan asking for? Oh, wait, let's see. Okay. Check the WhatsApp. Okay. Flesh and I know him. He sells biltong. Okay. Garrett says, I'm correct. Folks that leave do not come back. I want safety. I will be off the taxpayer as soon as I humanly can. You're welcome, Johan. Also, the whole thing about 1,000 people reclaiming their citizenship, that has nothing to do with returning to South Africa. You don't lose your citizenship by living abroad. You're still a citizen of South Africa. Even if you have permanent residence in another country, it doesn't mean you lose your citizenship. You have to absolve. You have to give up your citizenship in order to lose it. So 1,000 citizens regaining their citizenship per year South Africans is nonsense, unless these are people who lost their citizenship. Yes, Stephanie, you came in late. The Tammy Taylor couple. Yes, I heard about that. Liesel Keeley, it's the best way to stay alive in South Africa is prayer and faith. No, I always thought it was automatic weapons and flamethrowers. I don't get worried about benefits until we get jobs, which is the most important thing. We would want to use retirement funds in South Africa to rebuild, buy furniture and vehicle. I understand what you're saying. Yep. You're making biltong, okay? Convertible stolen by someone slicing through the roof. Exactly, Flesh, and that's what I'm saying. Yep. James says, I know you have a Beast 4Runner, but what's the other car you have? I have a 2015 Chrysler 200. I used to have a CRX from Honda, but I had to sell it in Germany because I couldn't take it to Uganda. So unfortunately, I got $1,200 for it, and it was worth a lot more than that in my view. It didn't have any rust on it and barely had 100,000 miles on it. It was amazing. I loved it. Yeah, so my CRX I sold. When I came back from Ethiopia, I purchased before I arrived, sight unseen, a Chrysler 200. And I'm very happy with it. The only problem I have with it is the transmission, which Chrysler loved their transmission. It had to be replaced, but it was under warranty, so that was taken care of. That was several years ago. Michigan, Detroit, Jewish synagogue development. Yes, active shooter Mad Max. I don't know if he's active. Don't know if he's active. I don't know if he's active. That was earlier, so let's try again. There was almost no news on him when it was first mentioned. Michigan shooting today. Let's check it out again. Now it says active shooter. Okay, that's not what they said earlier. Okay. Detroit Free Press, which had virtually nothing on it an hour ago, now has more information. Okay, a vehicle was involved and shots were fired amid an active shooter incident at Temple, Israel, West Bloomfield. Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard, speaking to the media at the scene, said at least one person believed had fired shots. No one was confirmed hurt. A shelter in place remains in effect. We're looking to see if there's more than one person. Dozens of police vehicles from multiple agencies could be seen with lights activated outside the complex. Police responded to a report of an active shooter just before 1 p.m. It's over an hour ago now. West Bloomfield Police Department sent out an alert urging residents to avoid the area. Michigan State Police's 2nd District acknowledged a reporting active incident shooting. Jewish agencies connected to the Jewish Federation of Detroit, the largest Jewish umbrella group in Michigan, were in precautionary lockdown. The Reformed Jewish Synagogue is located at 5725 Walnut Lake Road. Okay, and let's see what, oh, here's some video footage of it. Oh, you can't see it because it's blocked. It's blocked what we know about the incident. FBI Director Kash Patel said agents are in the scene. Suspect is not in custody, but authorities... is there a... Looks like an ambulance turned over. That's weird. Let's see what's going on here.
Scene. Please avoid this area if you can.
And we talk about how welcoming this temple is. This temple, Israel, the largest Jewish congregation in the United States, more than 3,000 families. And you talk about very welcoming.
Wow.
And also very ready for things like this.
Wow, 3,000 Jewish families go to the church. Wow, that's crazy. Yep. Wow. That's crazy. How you get contact with Mad Max? It's about the job line he is going on. Well, Jan Hendrik, you can send me an email and ask for Max's number, and if Max gives approval or give me an email address, I'll contact him. Yeah, prayers can be flamethrowers. Well, I hope so. Rent a car can you get on the cheap? Nothing, Caldonis. The COVID scam drove up the price of all used cars. Used cars are ridiculously expensive now. It's very hard to find a car. In a new car, you can't find for less than $21,000 now. It's crazy. Best place to eat lunch in Gettysburg? Going to be there on the 24th. Maybe me and my wife can meet up with you. Yes, Jam Jackal, we can. Send me an email and put in there Gettysburg, 24 March, okay? And I'll be healthy by then. We can meet up. I fly on the 27th to Las Vegas, so we can meet up. Lunch in Gettysburg, there's tons of places to eat in Gettysburg. So we can meet up. We can go to a Starbucks, something like that. Yeah, let me know. Are you just there on the 24th? And how long you're there for, Jam Jackal? Let me know. Happy to meet up with you. Someone else said they were going to Gettysburg, and I don't recall hearing from them since they said that. All right, Colette Cyril, take care. Okay, Maltese, thank you for your membership. Jan Hendrik Fundameva. Okay, in touch. Okay, there you go. Okay. Convertibles are for Italy. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That may be true. That may be true. Sorry, trying to clear my throat there. Anyway. What's this petition thing? People kept writing to me about petition. And like, you know, Colonel Wyatt said this about a petition. I don't even know what people are talking about. I'm talking about some petition. So I clicked on the link and I went to it. And it says it's closed. It had 80 supporters. What was this? Change.org. Something to do with refugees. I don't know what this was. One day ago. And people said, Colonel Wyatt, I have nothing to do with this petition. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what it is. Does anybody know what this petition is? I'm getting messages when I'm sick here telling me that I'm supporting some petition. I never even heard of any petition. It's also because people have realized how good 20-year-old cars are. Coming back South Africa for a holiday is very different moving back in and making... Exactly. Yeah. Reddick says it was stupid. Well, I guess so. I don't know. Peter Fenter. Yeah, there were some that went to Minnesota. Preschool inside. There probably very well could be a preschool inside the church or the temple. Yep, that is not unusual. All right, guys. Wow. We should probably wrap it up here, huh? My wife was very creative. She used to make food manually. It was for October. Still. Oh, okay. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry. I mean, I look. I'm not. If you're in that group, this isn't directed to you, but there are an awful lot of people who are in the September October group who didn't get over here, who are very self-centered and don't seem to care about others. They don't seem to care about other people. You know, what about the people from February, March, April, May, June, July, August? What about people in January whose flights were delayed? The people in February whose flights were delayed? We keep hearing about September, October. Yeah, there are a lot of South Africans here. Anyway, Hendo's telling Peter Venture to DM him. Okay. Emerald City Refugee, welcome to you. Yeah, I don't know, Max. I thought I was feeling better, but I'm sitting here hacking up a lot. Alan's 200 Rand says, ENI SIPEM has secured a 3-year contract for me on the Gulf of America. Since I only work 6 months a year, we use the 5 months exploring. Wow, Alan, congratulations. Congratulations, man. Alan is going to be a seaman, not a landman. Congratulations, ENI. That used to be the Italian oil company, didn't it? Something about a refugee petition person who sent it to me said it was taken, but I couldn't send it to me again. Okay. I don't know what the petition was, but somebody said I had something to do. I have nothing to do with any petitions. No, nothing to do with it. So let's end that nonsense right now. No one even contact me about it. All right, that's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up here. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done that already. How are we doing on likes? We've got 9,000 people watching this live stream. That's incredible. Thank you all for that. 693 likes. Can we do better than that? You guys can do better than that. 693 likes, 694. Hit 700. Petition was taken down. Yeah, it looks like it was. Okay, I don't know what it was about. I'm just saying that someone said I was involved in it. I had nothing to do with it. I have veterans meetings tonight, so I've got to wrap up. I'll probably record a video because I'm frustrated with that story about enjoy your afternoon. Your lawn is safe. Oh, Dylan, I didn't see anybody in the yard. And yeah, and besides, it's all soaked because of the rain, and it's freezing out there right now. The current temperature is 37 degrees, 38 degrees, just above freezing. Just above freezing. All right, thanks, guys. Take care. Be sure to hit the like button. We'll catch you later on or tomorrow for sure. All right, cheers.